kick it off. Gentleman in the picture.
Hi, it would be great if you could see one of these Keychain Desktops working right here. Would it be possible to just have a...
I'd be absolutely delighted to show one. Perhaps at the end, when everybody's finished their presentations, I can pop a laptop up here and show people how it works and give people demonstrations.
That would be great. Who would like to ask next? Please.
How much does it cost?
We currently resell the MSRP price for the device is $300 US. We got that price by taking the lowest cost netbook that's available in the market. We compared the functionality that you get out of a very low cost netbook with the rigor and power and availability of medium spec computers that were already out there. So our example is this: if you take a mid-level manager in any company, if you look at their home, they usually have a mid-powered PC or laptop that they purchase with their own money. Rather than traveling around with a very low-cost netbook, which breaks, gets damaged, and isn't really that functional, they can take a USB device which has the operating systems, the apps, all of their data, and plug it into any PC at any airport, hotel, their home, their friend's home, and you can reuse licenses. So one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is if you take, let's say, the Windows, the Office license, so your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, if you have your home PC or your Office PC with a license, you don't need to buy an additional license for the Keychain. You can take the same license and apply it, and Microsoft has confirmed that's completely legal.
And what about things like corporate user traveling with an iPad with log me in or go to my PC or some sort of application installed? That sort of direct competition to what you're doing?
I would use it as, I would look at it in a different way. So if I take, let's say, anything from an iPhone or a BlackBerry right the way through to an iPad, these are fantastic, wonderful devices for what I would describe as consuming content that's already been created. So a good example that Steve Jobs showed during the launch of the iPad was taking a PowerPoint presentation, reshuffling each of the different slides that was in the presentation, amending one or two words. If I look at, let's say, a BlackBerry experience with Excel, you may want to, let's say, read one or two cells, but you certainly couldn't do anything with the spreadsheet. So we see it as complementary. If you're, let's say, reviewing something your colleague has made, an iPad's perfect. That moment where somebody says, now can you edit it, create something and do something where you need power. And a good example would be, we ship with a Citrix client. So for applications that don't come installed on the device, such as, let's say, CAD or a mainframe application, you can use that, go straight into where that application is stored, and then you've got the full power of whatever is in the background.
Thank you.
What about security? How much of a footprint do you leave on the host device?
It's a very good question. One of the things that we've done is to make sure we leave no footprint. So effectively what we do is, we're not a device that you plug into a PC or laptop when it's running. The first thing we require users to do is actually switch the PC off. And that's so that you can boot from the USB stick. So effectively, if you took, let's say, Africa, where a lot of people reuse, let's say, 3 or 4-year-old machines, the companies that ship those machines to Africa could actually ship without a hard disk, and then you could put one of these devices inside the machine, and then it would fully function. You don't need a hard disk at all.
Many companies, large companies with diligent and vigilant IT departments, won't allow their staff to put anything onto their computer that hasn't been approved, which would sort of forbid them really from actually entering your device into their machines.
It's actually the other way around. So the IT security team are our buyer. And they're our buyer for two reasons. One is that IT security wants to be able to deliver laptops and desktops to people who really need them. But what they'd also like to do is save them money and not issue a laptop to, let's say, the PA who might need access one evening in the month. This is a device that will be issued by the corporate with all of their services, and therefore those occasional users, it's the perfect solution.
Any other questions, please? We have one hand over here. Thank you.
If I would like to switch to another platform, for example, I would like to use the Google Chrome with the Google Docs and Google Spreadsheets. Can I switch easily the device to be Google friendly?
It's a difficult question to answer because of the depth that it goes into. So if you look at, let's say, something like Google Chrome, or if I were to look at something like the Samsung Android tablets that are coming out, these are the similar solutions that you're talking about. These solutions are brilliant, brilliant technologies, and in the next 5 years, the market's going to be changed radically by this entry of new technology. But it does require IT directors and IT security teams to evaluate a huge number of different platforms. So if I take most of the IT security directors and IT directors, they're just about happy giving out laptops to most members of staff. The most common question asked to those individuals today is, I've got my own personal iPad, can I connect it to my corporate network? And the answer today is no. This Keychain Desktop, the ability to have this very, very small device, means that you can turn around and you can put it in any PC and get around that problem. As we develop the company, we will use different operating systems and we will add new IP to the technology and we'll expand and grow. The slightly longer answer to your question is yes, we will have Android later, but we don't support Android yet only for one reason. The volume of money Samsung have spent in creating an Android platform for their device is measured in the tens of millions of dirhams. Carousel would have to be a huge company to do that, and we've done it with a very small core team of 5.
Question from over there.
Does the system allow to install the new software to remove specific applications? Does it have that flexibility?
So Keychain Desktop is designed not to allow you to do that. So we ship a very small number of applications on the device that are the applications people really need. So specific applications would be as follows: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Outlook, Skype. Corporate customers want a SIP client to connect into their telephone system, the right VPN software for each company, and then a Citrix client. So let me give 2 examples. One example is Ahmed, who is in accounts, who needs all of the accountancy software. The IT department would create a small server with the Citrix software on board, which they've got the skills and know-how to do. They would put the software he would use on a daily basis on that server, and he would connect from this standard little piece of software on our disk to that server, and up would come a window with that application, just like you would have on your PC, Word open up. On the other hand, you would have somebody who's, let's say, a graphic designer who uses CAD. And you may have one person in the company out of 500 who needs that CAD product. We wouldn't want the expense of getting IT to support an extra application on a new stick with a different background. Make it easy for everybody. So we say there's no change to the back-end infrastructure. You've already invested the places to store your files and archive your files. Citrix is a technology which every company has. No extra expense there. Put the client on, you've already paid for the program and the license, so again, no expense. The only expense is this $300 for the end person to walk around with. And if you were to take, let's say, we have customers already in the finance sector and in the aviation space, the first thing they say to us is, should we, instead of buying, let's say, 5 or 6, want to buy, let's say, 500? I'm sure we can get a much bigger discount, and our answer is, of course. So we're already looking for government customers here in the UAE, companies like Emirates Airlines. We're already looking at, we've got pilots going on in most of the big DIFC companies, and we'll be in those within the next, hopefully, 3 to 4 months. I hope that answers your question fully.
Don't you think this could be used by, sorry. Don't you think this could be used by potential hackers and people who could probably leave in some malicious codeware or spyware into a network where they're allowed access to?
I'm so glad you asked that question. That is the nub of our product. So let's take it for an example for a minute yourself. You're leaving Dubai to go on a business trip to, let's say, Europe. You go to the airport and you suddenly realize that you need to review something on a computer because one of your colleagues has sent something to you. If it's an Emirates lounge, a BA lounge, it doesn't really matter. There's almost always a computer sitting there. And the first thing that people do is sit down at that computer, log into their corporate environment using all of their credentials, and if there's any spyware, malware, things that log code, that log your passwords, you can't tell if that's there. You have to go on trust that whoever's machine you're using is protecting you, the user, from that risk. By using Keychain Desktop, you know that the device you're going to use doesn't have that risk because it's yours. And so you can choose any available hardware, shut it down, put the device in, and you absolutely know with full assurity that that machine is going to be safe, that any of the files that you use or browse or look at, no one else can possibly read, there's no footprint that's left. When you log out and you take the stick away, the access to your corporate environment, or the access to, let's say, your personal Dropbox or your Apple iDisk, no one else can possibly gain those credentials. And so it's completely secure.
I'm talking of the other way around.
Sorry, we have to stop there. Thank you very much indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you, please, for a very clever